Hello, everyone, and welcome to Diamond in the Rough. My name is Mick Miller, and joining me are NMR Sports and Nick Theriault12, because that's how you say his name. I don't care what he says. And this is the podcast where three rough-looking guys talk about much better-looking guys on a baseball diamond. And in today's pod, our first episode, we wanted to do something fun, a little interesting. So we're going to go over each team and one player that we all think is overrated on that team. So first, before we jump into it, Nolan, Nick, how are you guys?
What up, bro? How we doing, y'all? I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. Spent the day hanging out with my girlfriend and her family. Ready to get in and talk about some teams, my guys.
I'm in. Nick?
I'm pretty good, too. Just didn't do much today. Ready to talk about some hot takes in the MLB.
All
right, let's do it. So the first team we're going to jump into is the New York Yankees. I am going to cover the East divisions. Nick's going to cover the Central divisions, and Nolan's going to cover the Western divisions. So starting off with the New York Yankees, my most overrated player on that team is Mr. Aaron Hicks, not Aaron Judge. And I think Aaron Hicks gets a little bit too much credit for his play. He's only ever played in 137 games in a season, so he's very injury prone. I thought at first he deserved that 7-year deal that he got from the Yankees, or however long it was, 5 years, I don't remember. But his career slugging percentage is only .402, which isn't good. Apparently he sucks in the outfield, which I didn't know. His outs above average, he's in the bottom 2%. He's in the bottom half of exit velocity and hard hit percentage. And his career OPS plus is only at 99, where league average is 100. So he's a below average hitter, and he's way below average defensively. So I didn't know that. I don't know. What are you guys' takes on that?
I mean, you're roasting him for the years he spent in Minnesota. He's been nothing but fucking amazing for you guys. His OPS with the Yankees.
I mean, he still hasn't played that much. His batting average, his slugging percentages aren't that good, even in his years with the Yankees.
88 games, 122 OPS plus. 137 games with 127 OPS plus. And it's not even like he's your star outfielder. He's not even your second best outfielder. He's just barely your third best outfielder on a good day.
True.
So I don't know. Pretty solid. He's a switch hitting bat. He definitely brings value to your lineup.
I'm not saying he doesn't bring value, but the way I hear
Yankee
fans talk about him, I'm like, I just don't see it. And especially
when I think of Aaron Hicks, all I think about is against the Minnesota Twins. That game where you guys were down in the ninth inning or something, he hits a
diving
home
catch
run to tie it up, and then he ends the game on a diving catch in center field. I feel like when you're a Yankee, you get that signature moment, and you get attached to these Yankees fans. Everybody loves you. That's kind of what Derek Jeter was. He has a signature moment. Exactly. Not that he was amazing.
Agreed.
No,
yeah.
I mean, Hicks has some awesome moments. Hicks has had some big homers in the playoffs. He's made some. I mean, that diving play is one of the best plays ever, realistically. It was just incredible in the moment it was in. But that's the problem, is that he gets credit.
Best play of
for those
2019.
When you look at his defense, it's not that good.
What are you saying, Nick? I know your mic's quiet.
Best play of 2019 easily.
Oh yeah. That game
definitely
was insane. That was just a ridiculous game. Every
one of the best games of all time.
Now, speaking of lead changes, I had to throw. Okay, so this is gonna be a hot take, 100% hot take. Y'all are gonna roast me for this. I hate this guy. Everyone seems to love him. Aroldis Chapman. But not because of his career, because of 2020. He was just not good in 2020. He had 5 save opportunities. He blew 2 out of 5 of them, so that's just not great. His ERA was where's it at? ERA was 3.09, which isn't terrible, but in 13 games, 3.09. It's definitely not Aroldis Chapman. Everyone thinks of him as one of the best closers of all time. I just don't think that's him going into 2021. I don't think he's one of the best closers in the league next year.
I wouldn't even call that a hot take. I almost went with Aroldis Chapman, but I didn't think he was this bad in 2020. I mean, Aroldis Chapman in the playoffs, he just chokes every time, no matter what. So I'm sick of watching him in the playoffs.
That's something about the Yankees bias too.
Yeah.
Whenever you think of Aroldis Chapman, you think of Game 7 of the World Series with the Cubs. You think of Michael Brasso in the playoffs this year. He just, whenever I see his giving up the home run to Jose Altuve in 2019. Yep. It's just I see his face and I just see a walk-off home run being hit. I know he throws hard and he's good during the regular season, but I don't know, man. I think 2021 might not be a great year for Chapman.
I would not be surprised at all.
Who do you got, Nick?
My pick, I picked Gary Sanchez for the most overrated.
Okay.
He's had good seasons in the past where he's hit multi like 30 home run seasons, but this year it just didn't do it. Although he hit 10 home runs, the batting average wasn't there. The on base percentage and slugging it was under 700. So like that just doesn't do it for me. For a catcher, I think you should at least be 750.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to catching, well, my problem with Gary Sanchez is his defense, not his offense. Like, if you have a catcher, you don't care what their offensive output is as long as they're good behind the dish, and he's not. He made up for that in past.
If they can get the job done, then
you can have a defensive first catcher and you can have an offensive first catcher, and clearly Gary Sanchez is an offensive first catcher, but I think the Yankees were trying to make him a defensive first catcher, and that was their problem. They were messing with his mechanics behind the plate. They were having him worry about so much. He couldn't focus on anything to do with his offense. Honestly, at the beginning of 2020, when they talked about how much catching drills he had done and everything, I was like, he's going to suck in 2020. I could tell. He's just going to have too much going on. He's going to put too much pressure on himself. And so, I mean, 2020 is a wash for me. He's never going to hit for high average. But if he's right, he can absolutely carry a team. So I'm still going to defend Gary, but I am if he has a bad year in 2021, then I'm ready to call quits on him.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's really hard to say because he was such a good catcher. Like in the last few years, he was top 5, one of my favorite catchers in all baseball. Kind of a guy I had to have on my fantasy team every year.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm a big Gary Sanchez fan. I hate to see him struggle like that. But still, 10 home runs isn't bad in 2020. It's not like he was not doing what he's
for a shortened season.
Yeah, he's kind of like a Kyle Schwarber guy who he'll hit the ball every once in a while and it goes 600 feet. But yeah,
Joey Gallo.
Yeah, not gonna get on base a lot.
Well, why don't we move on to my second team is the Orioles, and this was a difficult one because, it's the Orioles, and they let go their 2 best hitters, or 3 best hitters really. Jose Iglesias got traded, Renato Nunez got DFA'd, and I'm pretty sure Hanser Alberto got DFA'd as well. So when I was going through their roster, I was like, who the hell is even on this team anymore? So I went with John Means because he's kind of seen as their ace, even though he's not a typical ace. But I think he's going to be expected to pitch well, and I don't see it happening. He's got a good fastball. I'll give it to him. But if you go to his baseball savant page, his off-speed pitches aren't good. He's very, very below average spin rate on his curveball, below average barrel percentage. So he gives up hard hits, and he doesn't strike very many people out. So that's why I don't see him doing very well in 2021.
I mean, I feel like when I think of the Orioles, I don't even know who pitches for them. I figure they put someone out there. I just don't know who it is.
Someone has to give up all the homers to the Yankees. So, there are names out there.
Exactly.
Yeah, Gleyber Torres has got to hit 5 home runs a game off somebody. So
exactly.
Yeah, so I think John Means,
Doesn't matter who.
I guess could be considered overrated. I think it's pretty easy to pick on the guy I picked with Chris Davis, but Chris Davis, it's not like everyone thinks he's good. It's just that he's paid so much damn money to suck. Everybody knows he sucks. He's kind of like if you ever had the MLB memes on your Facebook in 2013, and they would always make fun of Jason Bay. Chris Davis is Jason Bay. That is who he is now.
Yes.
He's getting paid $100 million contract to literally do nothing. That man just kind of I'm sure he's just that guy at work who shows up and sits in the corner and goes on his phone, doesn't care, just relaxes. He's like, yeah, I'm getting paid $20 million a year to do this. And he just strikes out every day. But who do you got, Nick?
I picked John Means as well. He had a really good 2019. I think he was second place for Rookie of the Year in the American League.
Yeah.
But he was extremely underrated at the end of the season. That's what I thought. But then he brought in this poor performance in 2020. Well, not poor performance, but not as good as people expected him to be. So I think he's definitely going to be overrated for heading into the new season.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
There's a few guys on.
I was just going to say, I think he's going to be projected to bounce back, and I don't see it happening.
Well, there's a few guys on that team that performed this year that I don't know. Anthony Santander looked amazing last year. And I was looking at his stat page, and I was like, okay, he looks decent. He was terrible for a very long time, but literally the last 4 or 5 seasons, he's consistently gone uphill. And last year
Yeah,
he
that's
had
why I
an
didn't pick him.
OPS like close to 900. So like, if he can continue
Yeah.
that, he could be a legitimate player for them next year. And then obviously Trey Mancini, we're not really sure who we're going to see next year, but not really going to pick on a guy who missed 2020 because of leukemia. So
Exactly.
I was like,
That's
do I pick Trey
that's
Mancini?
that's
And
way
then I
out of
was
his
like,
reach.
yeah, exactly. So we'll see. I think Trey Mancini is still the best player on that team, but
yeah, easily, I think. Yeah. I mean, hey, we might come
Yeah, I
back
agree,
at the
too.
end of the season
Yeah.
and be like, well, we screwed this one up because he
yeah,
sucked.
right.
So,
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
If he gets an at bat, he'll be comeback player of the year. So
oh my God, it'd be
Yeah.
so easy.
he hits one home run. He could bat like
Easily,
120.
easily, yeah.
He could be Gary Sanchez next year and he'll win comeback player of the year.
So our next team, I went with the Boston Red Sox, and I thought this one was really easy. Christian Vasquez, he had a good year in 2020. He's more of a defensive first catcher than an offensive first catcher, but a lot of people thought like he finally found it offensively and that he was going to like continue to get better. But listen to all these categories that he was below average in. He was below average in exit velocity. He was below average in expected WOBA. He was below average in expected batting average, below average in expected slugging, below average in barrel percentage, below average in strikeout percentage, and below average in walk percentage. And when you suck in all of those categories, you're not going to be very good. And his batting average on balls in play was 340. So it's just not sustainable to be as good as he was in 2020. And when it's like I said,
Yeah.
his expected batting average was 248, and he hit almost 300.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the stat with pitchers. There's a bunch of guys who like that. Jose Iglesias, like you mentioned, with the Orioles going to the Angels, he had the highest BABIP in the league last year. So he's like kind of the hitting version of that, where he just got extremely lucky for one season and looked like amazing. So I don't know if Christian Vasquez is like a legitimate, like solid pitcher for your rotation. So
Well, Christian Vasquez is a catcher.
he's a catch. Oh shit, my bad.
He's a catcher.
I thought you were. Yeah, I was literally. I'll be honest, dude. I did not listen to a word you said because I am looking up. I didn't put someone for the Red Sox on my list, so I was kind of panicking, and I started looking someone else up.
That's
I'm
fair.
good, bro.
But basically, the
Yeah.
point of what I was just about to say is that Christian Vasquez sucks, and I don't want to hear otherwise.
Well, he
That's what I was
started
gonna
off
say.
last year amazing. I remember that.
I agree, yeah.
And he was literally like the best hitter
Yeah.
in baseball for a week, and then all of a sudden, it was
But he like
okay,
doesn't hit
there's
the ball
Christian
hard.
Vasquez. Yeah,
He just does not hit the ball hard enough.
Yeah,
to,
he
like,
doesn't
be
hit
good.
it hard at all.
Yeah, he's pretty good defensively though, isn't he?
And
Oh,
people
yeah,
still
he's,
consider
like,
him to be a
top
top
tier.
5.
Yeah, exactly.
He's top tier defensively, but like,
So he's
I just
off.
think
He's the anti
Oh
Gary
yeah,
Sanchez.
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the guy I was looking up while I was not listening to you was, I think it's pretty easy to pick on JD Martinez for how bad of a year he had last year. But obviously, it's kind of an outlier year after his last 3 or 4 seasons. But it's kind of weird because his if you look at his baseball reference page, it's kind of like a sandwich. If you look at his OPS, he was like top prospect, and then he was just absolutely terrible for a few years, having like a 742, 685, 650 OPS. Then one random year, he goes up to a 912 OPS, 879, 908, and then he just goes off when he gets traded to the Diamondbacks with an OPS over 1,000 for 2 years. And then with Boston last 2 years, he had an OPS over 1,000 and 900. And then last year, he was just awful. Like, just completely awful. Terrible.
Yeah.
Not really any redeeming qualities. He batted .213 with a .291 on base percentage, under 300 on base, .389 slugging with a .680 OPS. That's just absolutely atrocious year. So I don't know if he's I don't know. I don't know if he just had a random flash in the pan few years and now he has the yips or something, but I don't know. I'd say JD Martinez.
He might.
I think
Yeah.
JD Martinez is
Yeah,
probably
I-
a victim of 2020.
Yeah, that's what I
I don't
think
know,
as well,
man.
yeah.
I don't know, but he was also I do remember he was the biggest proponent against them taking the replay rooms out of like the dugout area where you can look at that kind of stuff. I'm not whatever the hell it's called. I can't think of the word. Accusing him of cheating, yeah, but I don't know, it's kind of sus. So we'll have to see. But
Trust me, I want JD Martinez to suck. but I think he'll bounce back in 2021.
But he looked so bad last year. It's really hard.
Yeah, I hope he does. He was one of my favorite players.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's really hard to imagine him being so much better next year and going back. Like, I don't know. I just have this negative connotation when I see JD Martinez now compared to last year, where I'd have thought he was one of the best players in baseball. Still terrible on defense, though.
How old is he now?
How old is he? Let me see. He is 33, so he's getting out of his prime.
I thought he was like 38. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but I mean, he's still like, I don't know, towards the end of his prime, I guess. So his prime would have been the last 4 or 5 years, I guess. So we'll have to see. Yeah, he definitely looks older than he is.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, when he was coming up and playing with
the
Tigers and Astros, he was like, I think he made his major league debut when he was like 20 or something.
Yeah, it makes sense.
With the Astros, yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah, he debuted at 20, or no, that's the wrong guy. He debuted
2011 with the Astros, I believe.
Yeah, 2011.
So he was 24.
I have his rookie card.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so interesting guy, JD Martinez. We'll have to see, but I think he's pretty overrated.
I can see it.
Yeah,
what do you got, Nick?
I chose Andrew Benintendi for the Red Sox
Really?
because, well, he didn't get much playing time, but he had 39 at-bats. He hit 103 with 4 runs scored, an RBI, and an OPS of 4.42, which is atrocious in my mind.
I'm not going to lie. I forgot that man existed.
That wasn't... Yeah, exactly. That's why it wasn't a high pick for me.
I almost picked Benintendi too, but I mean, I think his OPS plus for 2020 was like in the 40s, which is just so horrifically terrible.
I think he was a victim of Alex Verdugo, though, because if Alex Verdugo wasn't traded there, he would have been the starting right fielder and got a lot more reps in.
I think Benintendi was injured. That's why he didn't play much. But when he did play, he was terrible.
Yeah.
But if you go back the past few seasons, he hasn't been as good as he was in 2018, I think it was. So 2019, 2020
was just a magical year for the Red Sox, where everybody was just firing on all cylinders.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with that. I think he's pretty overrated.
Because he did finish second in Rookie of the Year, I think, one year. I can't remember which one.
Didn't he? I think he debuted in like 16.
Yeah, he debuted in 2016, played 34 games. I don't know what the qualifications are to be Rookie of the Year, but yeah,
I don't.
2017
I think he
was
was
first full season.
I think he was. He might have qualified for Rookie of the Year in 16. I don't remember.
Let's see. He was Rookie of the Month in 2017, so he was eligible as a rookie in 2017.
All right, that makes sense then. So he obviously didn't win because that's when Ohtani won, right? Or no, who won 17?
17 was Aaron Judge.
Oh, right.
Aaron Judge, and then Ohtani was 18.
I knew that.
Yeah, right? Yankees fan?
Yeah, what a loser I am. So going into my next team, the Tampa Bay Rays, I thought this one was pretty easy. And this might be controversial, it might not be, but Tyler Glasnow gets far more credit than he deserves. He's a 3-pitch pitcher, but he only throws his changeup 4% of the time, so he only really has 2 pitches. And his stuff is disgusting, I'll be honest, obviously. But he's below average in hard hit percentage, exit velocity, barrel percentage, and walk percentage. So basically, when he gives up hits, they're hard hits, they're extra bases, and he walks a lot of people. So when he does give up hits, they go for extra runs. His ERA plus is 95, which is below average, and he's got a FIP over 4. So Tyler Glasnow doesn't do it for me. He's fun to watch if he's right. He strikes out a lot of people, but I just think he's the Rays ace now that Blake Snell is gone. But I just don't think he's as good as people say he is.
I definitely don't think he's an ace. I don't know. Yeah, I'd say he's pretty overrated. He's a very interesting guy. He's built like a pitcher. He definitely looks like he could be an ace. I don't know. He's still fairly young, isn't he, though? How old is he? Let's see. I'm looking it up right now, but... Well, Where does it say it on
He's
Baseball
not.
Reference?
He's not a day over 40. That's all I know. I don't remember.
No, he's 26. He was 26 last year, so still very young. I think he could develop into a better pitcher. I think he just needs to control a little bit better. Because I remember watching him in the 2019 playoffs where they almost beat Houston, and then he just choked in Game 5, and he looked awful. So I think if he can just relax, calm down a little bit, and just kind of dial in, maybe being in that ace situation might do something good for him because he's going to have to clutch up, or else they're just not even going to be contenders next year. I honestly don't see
he's
the
gonna
Rays as
have to be their
contenders next
guy.
year, but yeah, no, he's going to have to be insane. They still have one of the best bullpens in baseball, so I don't know. That's also helpful too for a starter, especially in an ace situation, because if you give up a few runs or if you have a lead, you're confident that the guys behind you can take care of it, especially if you're throwing a lot of pitches like a guy like Glasnow tends to do.
Yeah.
But
It's hard to define a guy as an ace when he's never going to pitch more than 5 innings. He's only ever going to see the lineup twice through. So, I mean, it's hard to define him as an ace, even though I think a lot of people are going to. I mean, he's hot. I'll give it to him. He's a hot dude. He's like 7'5".
Yeah.
So
Oh,
like
dude,
he looks good at what he's doing, but he's not as good as
that mullet, man. I'll be honest, man. That mullet. Every guy gets a pass.
It makes you feel some type of way.
It really does, man. It really does. All about those mullets.
Yeah.
Who you got, Nick?
Heard you guys have.
What do you got, Nick?
I got Mike Zunino. I picked him.
Interesting.
He hit 4 home runs, drove in 10, and had an OPS of 598. So that just atrocious again.
That's bad.
In my mind.
It's kind of interesting. I mean, I guess
Does anyone-
It is.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Does anyone think that Mike Zunino was good?
I mean, I guess because he's
I thought
kind
he
of
was
a household
okay in the
name, I
playoffs.
guess. Oh, he was really good in the playoffs. That man
He
went
hits
off in
home
the
runs.
playoffs.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah,
he's
he
got a
was.
lot of power.
He
Play
hits
MLB The Show.
he hits
He's
them
my
hard.
favorite catcher in that game. But
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I like Mike Zunino. It was kind of weird
Yeah.
that they re-signed him to the Rays. The Rays kind of like their cheap guys. They have one of the lowest payrolls in baseball, and Mike Zunino is kind of a. I feel like he's an offense-first catcher that's not great at offense. So
You could say the same thing about Gary Sanchez sometimes. So.
yeah, catcher's just a weird spot. I feel like
Yeah.
catcher's the most confusing position in all of baseball. So
It's definitely the hardest. I would never want to be a catcher.
yeah, I ended up putting up Austin Meadows. So Austin Meadows is good, but 2019 he was amazing. 2019 he had an OPS over 900. His OPS plus was 144. My man just went off, had an amazing year, and I thought I was very high on Austin Meadows going into last year, but then he comes out with a OPS plus of 86 last year in 36 games played. So I'm not sure if he was hurt or just not getting playing time or what. I know they kind of had a stacked outfield there with obviously Randy Arozarena getting called up, and who's the other guy they had? Hunter Renfroe out there.
Manuel Margot they have as well.
Oh, I even forgot about him. Yeah, so they had a pretty stacked outfield out there, so I don't know if he really got the benefit of the doubt playing out there. But Austin Meadows kind of pedestrian. Like, he's had an OPS in the 700s, which is about league average for every year he's been in the majors, and then last year he just shot up and had an amazing season, 2019, and then 2020 comes down back to earth. So I'd say Austin Meadows overrated.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I think he could be really good, but if it's kind of 50-50 for me. If he sucks, I wouldn't be or if he's league average, I should say. I shouldn't say if he sucks. If he's average, I wouldn't be surprised, and if he's a god, I wouldn't be surprised either.
Yeah,
camera froze
it goes either way.
Yeah, we lost Nolan for a sec. I think he's trying to come back.
You can hear me though, right? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we can hear you. There you go. You're back.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to the last team in the AL East, the Blue Jays. This one was a tough one for me, just because they're so young. They haven't really had time to become overrated, in my opinion.
I think I know.
But I went with Teoscar Hernandez.
And they haven't had the experience.
I went with
yet.
I went with Teoscar Hernandez, a guy who's kind of been average at best during most of his career, and then in 2020 he was ridiculous. And I want him to be ridiculously good, unless they're playing the Yankees. because I think he's fun to watch, but he
Yeah, he's a
sucks
fun
in the
guy.
outfield. He strikes out a ton. He's in the 12th percentile in strikeouts, which is bad. He doesn't walk all that much. He's in the bottom quarter of the league, and he whiffs a lot. He's in the 8th percentile in whiffs, which is really bad. So when you don't walk much and you strike out a lot, you're not going to have that great of a season, or you're not going to be that good. So I see him kind of coming back down to earth and not being as ridiculously good as he was. As much as I wanted to be, I think he's fun to watch.
Yeah, I did put Teoscar Hernandez, but since you said him, I do have another guy that I'm very ready to write off already. He's 21 years old, but Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is not impressed me one bit. I don't know if they brought him up too early or what.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be the next coming of Jesus, and he's just not. He's okay. He's solid. He's serviceable as a third baseman, but they advertised him as the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. So he's, I think that's just a big name to look
honestly,
into.
But this might be a cold take. I may end up on freezing cold takes, so maybe don't quote me. But I think he has a ton of potential left in the tank. I think he's going to be an all-star. I will predict right now that he'll be an all-star in 2021. I just think he's got tons of pressure on himself. He was one of the first young guys to come up for the Blue Jays, and obviously his dad's. His dad's a Hall of Famer. He's got a lot to live up to. He was their top prospect. I think he just put too much pressure on himself, and he's lost a ton of weight this offseason. So I think he's going to bounce back. I think he's finally going to show us what all the hype was about, which sucks because I can already tell he's going to hit a few walk-off homers against the Yankees for the Blue Jays. I know it. He's going to eat Chapman alive. So I see it happening. I wouldn't be surprised. I seriously think he's going to be an all-star in 2021. I like maybe he might be overhyped right now, but I do think he's going to be a lot better than he has been.
Yeah, I don't know. The Blue Jays, I love the Blue Jays. I honestly think they're the second best team, and if anybody's going to challenge the Yankees in this division, it's going to be the Blue Jays. I think they need a little bit more pitching, but when it comes to their top prospects, obviously, like Kevin Biggio, Bo Bichette, and Vladimir Guerrero come up all around the same time. I don't know when. I think Teoscar was kind of a little bit before them and everything. Teoscar Hernandez is pretty young, and so is Lourdes Gurriel Jr. But out of all those guys, Vladimir Guerrero is supposed to be the cream of the crop, like the top guy in that group, and he just hasn't been. So, I don't know. He's only 21, like I said.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
I'm pretty ready to write him off. What do you got, Nick?
Yeah, he was my pick as well, man. Just when he came to the league, I thought he was just going to come out right out the gate booming. I thought he was going to hit 20, 30 home runs in his rookie season, and that just didn't happen. So I was really disappointed. I didn't want to pick him, but I kind of had to.
15 home runs in
but
123 games his rookie year.
Yeah, but I agree. He could be an all-star in 2021 for sure. Once he loses more weight and once he comes out of that pressure of having a Hall of Fame dad.
Yeah, I mean, he came. I think he came into 2020 a little out of shape, but I do seriously think he's going to bounce back. I'm definitely not ready to write him off yet.
We got 21-year-old Pablo Sandoval out here.
Yeah,
for real. Oh, he's definitely gonna move over to first base at some point. Whether that's 2021, 2022, I'm not sure when. Maybe that'll help him. Maybe he's a little worried defensively over there at third base. So maybe that'll help his offense.
Well, I'm not trading for Lindor anymore, so maybe they trade for Nolan Arenado or maybe Chris Bryant or something. So
I want them to be good. It's fun to watch, but I don't want them to be too good.
Yeah,
but if Nolan Arenado, I wouldn't be sad if Nolan Arenado went to that team, because I think Nolan Arenado is he deserves to be in the playoffs and be in an organization that isn't the Colorado Rockies.
Yeah, definitely. I think we lost Nick for now, but I think we should go through the American League divisions and then hop over to NL so we can kind of switch around a little bit.
That's what I was going to say, yep. So we're going to head over to the American League Central now, now that Nick's back. And so, Nick, go ahead. What's your first team?
I just lost Wi-Fi. So, my first team is the Royals. I'm going with my favorite team just to get out the way. It really hurts me to say this, but I chose Adalberto Mondesi as my overrated pick going into 2020.
Did we all choose Mondesi? Because I had him too.
I didn't choose Mondesi. I went with someone else.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I chose him because, well, he had the first half of 2020, he didn't do much, but then the last month in September, he just went off. And if he can continue that momentum into 2021, he could be an all-star and he could win a Silver Slugger award if he wanted to, for sure.
He's really young still, isn't he?
He's
Yeah, he's
25 years old.
24.
He's
Well,
still
yeah.
got he's still got lots of time to develop. He's still got a lot of potential. He debuted in the World Series when he was 20 years old. He was the first person, I believe, to make their MLB debut in the World Series.
Okay, yeah, I think I remember.
And I-
I remember that.
And I'm pretty sure it was Game 5. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. He's played since 2016, but I don't know if he's been up and down in the majors or he's been hurt because he's has 47 games played in 2016, 25 in 2017, 75 in 2018, 102 in 2019, and then 59 out of 60 games in 2020. So he was really healthy last year.
yeah, he's been injured. He's got to stay healthy. That's for sure.
I do think he's got to be more consistent. The reason I
Yeah,
didn't pick Mondesi is, like you
100%.
said, he's had those really good months or like stretches where he's like phenomenal. And I went with a guy who I don't know if this is the right pick or not, but I went with Josh Stamont. First, that was my gut reaction because he was really really good in 2020. And I think if you'll notice that I have a lot of pitchers in the Central divisions that I think are overrated because the Central divisions cannot hit at all. So I went with Stamont, even though he throws gas. He was older. I think he's like 26, so he's not old, but he's older than I thought he was because I think this was his rookie year or like one of his first couple years in the league. So I don't think he's going to be as good as he was in 2020. So I went with him.
Yeah, I chose
that's
Mondesi as well. Just a guy I do really like. I genuinely like him, and if he can put it together, I think the Royals could be threatening for a wild card spot next year. The team looks really good. The offense is great, and if your guy Stamon can come through and be solid in the bullpen there, I would say I'd like to see them get some pitching, but I don't know. They're kind of weird because you don't think of them as a team that'd be in on some of these free agents this offseason, but they went out and got Carlos Santana, so they're going to have a pretty interesting team next year, and if Mondesi can be really solid at the top of that order, they'd be a scary
If he
team.
can step up, they'll push. Yeah.
Yeah,
They got
Especially
Mike
with the
Minor, so
Indians
I don't know.
losing. Yeah,
that's true.
yeah.
The former Royal Mike Minor.
I don't
Yep.
know if Minor's going to start for them or
Yeah.
be a relief pitcher for them, but he's there, so that's something.
Yeah, I can't really tell what his role is going to be, but at least he's there.
Very interesting team. They have a
Yeah,
few young
exactly.
guys in that rotation too. Brady Singer's pretty young, isn't
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's 23, I think. I think he's 23. Yeah.
he? Yeah, so he has some potential to grow a little bit next year. Yeah,
I think he's going to do really well.
they're a pretty fun team
I'm
to
hoping.
watch.
Yeah.
Take it from an Angels fan. Get some damn pitching, or else you're going to be very disappointed.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you got for us next there, Nick?
I picked the Indians. This was a little bit of a hard choice because there wasn't really much to choose from, but I chose Roberto Perez. We've mentioned this before, but like with Christian Vasquez, he's the anti-Gary Sanchez. He's great defensively. He won Gold Gloves, but he had that one good offensive season. I think it was 2019 where he hit 24 home runs. But since then, like he's not consistent with his power, which is why he's overrated for me going into 2021. But the defense is there, obviously, because he's insane.
Yeah, he's one of the top defensive catchers in the game. But
Top
I
five.
remember in the 2016 postseason, he like went off for a while there. He was really good.
Oh yeah.
offensively.
He did.
But yeah, I would agree. The Indians were hard because it was hard to like.
Yeah, they're just a really
Yeah.
hard team because nobody's good. Nobody's highly rated. I mean, if you look at their
Everyone's
team
gone,
last
too, and
year,
they're all
Carlos
young.
Santana was one of their best players, gone. Francisco Lindor was one of their best players, he's gone. Cesar Hernandez was one of their best players, he's gone. Jose Ramirez is all alone on that team, hanging out with Shane Bieber, being two of the best players in all of baseball. And yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
Indians
Who'd
fans.
you go?
I
Yeah, you're
left it. I low-key left it blank. Like
well,
I
I have a hot take. I
Uh-huh.
do have a hot take. I'm
Here it
gonna
comes.
say I'm gonna stand firm. I think Shane Bieber is disgustingly overrated, and I'll tell you why. Obviously, he was nuts in 2020. I'll give it to him. But the teams he faced the Royals, the Twins, the White Sox, the Tigers, Pittsburgh, and Milwaukee. The only
That's
team
fair.
in that
Yeah.
list that was above average in OPS was the White Sox. And as we saw, we saw what happened in the postseason. You can say that was postseason jitters, but as soon as he faced a team out of that division or out of those two divisions, he sucked. So I would not be surprised if he comes back, he throws up like a 3.5 ERA, and he's not superb again.
Yeah, but okay.
I kind of agree with that take.
I don't know, man.
I agree with that,
To
yeah.
be that dominant, I mean, a lot of pitchers on that team who are really good pitchers. So if that's the case, then the entire Indians rotation and bullpen is overrated. Do you agree with that?
I'm not ruling that out.
Okay, so well, I
The
mean,
Indians have always been good at developing pitchers, and I'll give it to them. But I think Shane Bieber is going to get far more credit than he deserves from his 2020 season.
yeah, I mean his 162 game average. Let's see, 3.06 ERA. Where's his WHIP? 1 home run per 9, 8 hits per 9. Yeah, because 2018 he didn't have a great year. Neither did 2019 towards the end. He made the All-Star team, obviously. I think he got All-Star Game MVP as well.
Yep.
Yeah. So he had a pretty good year in 2019. 2020 he was just ridiculous, man. I don't know if I've ever seen a pitcher be that dominant. I don't know, man. I agree with the Pittsburgh, but I think the Royals can kind of hit, man. Like they're a pretty decent team. The Royals did face a lot of good pitching, though. The AL Central is pretty stacked in it. Because you think about it, you're facing Kenta Maeda, you're facing Shane Bieber, you were facing Mike Clevenger for a bit, Zach Plesac, a lot of these different guys. Not like, yeah, I don't know.
There's two ways to look at it. You can either say they have really good pitching or really terrible offenses. And I'm saying it's more of the terrible offenses in the divisions than it is the amazing pitching. Because I think if those pitchers went in other divisions, they would be not as good. So that's why I think Shane Bieber is overrated. And I mean, I could be so wrong. Shane Bieber can go out in 2021, shove, and easily win another Cy Young award, and I wouldn't be mad. But I just think right now he's overrated and it's going to get way too much credit.
He also finished 4th in the MVP voting, just letting you know. That's how fucking good he was,
Good for
dude.
him.
If this is a 162 game season and he puts that up, that's an MVP year. But 60 game season,
Definitely.
I agree.
100%.
I don't know if I'd say he's overrated.
162 normal year, he doesn't come close to doing this again.
If he has a better year next year, if he has a bad year next year, then I'll say he's overrated. But right now, it's hard to say.
Yeah, me too.
And he's so young.
I needed
he's
a hot
25,
take.
bro.
The Indians were hard.
He's 25. I don't know, man. He's not even fully in his prime yet, so we'll have to see. I like Shane Bieber.
I mean, he can easily prove me wrong, but I do think he's overrated right now. I needed something. I needed to go with someone. So
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a tough choice either way. So.
Yeah, 100%.
So. The next team we got the Minnesota Twins. I picked Mitch Garver for
That's not a
most
bad pick at all.
overrated going into 2021. Well, you guys know in 2019 he had that monstrous season where he hit 31 home runs and like less than 400 at bats, I believe.
Yep, 359.
The
Sorry,
power just
311
wasn't there
at-bats.
at all. 311?
311 at bats. He hit 31 home runs.
That's
Yeah, he's a
insane.
monster.
That's
2019
insane.
was insane.
Well, compared to this year, he only hit 2 home runs, drove in 5, and an OPS of 511.
yeah, I mean,
Which compared to his 2019 season is bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
2019
he was my easy
probably
pick
a
for that
fluke.
team.
Like looking at
Yeah.
his stat line, 2017 he didn't really have that much of a sample size, but 2018 he was the starting catcher. with 102 games played in. He had an OPS of 749, 104 OPS plus, which is exactly league average pretty much, with 7 home runs in 102 games. So in 2018, 7 home runs in 302 plate appearances. 2019, 31 home runs in 311 plate appearances.
I agree. It was definitely a fluke year, for sure. Yeah.
I think the balls helped him too, because I think
Balls
we
are
can
juiced,
probably
man.
we can debate about it, but the balls were definitely juiced, and they probably still are, and they probably were in 2020. So I think that helped him.
I would debate that they were. Yeah.
I don't know. If he can get back, maybe the Twins could win a postseason game. If he can get back to form next year. Those poor Twins.
How long has
I'm
it been? Like
convinced that it's
16
never gonna
years?
happen again.
Dude, the Yankees
Not-
are
not for another couple
literally
years, at
their
least.
daddy. It's insane, dude. I made a video
agree.
about it on YouTube. The last like 4 times they've been in the playoffs, they've gotten swept by the Yankees, and then last year they got swept by the Astros. And the last time they didn't get swept by the Yankees, they lost to the Yankees 3-1, I think 2 years in a row. And then they lost to my Angels 3-1 in 2002.
Yeah.
So
I love
it is
every
what it is.
moment of
It's
it.
crazy to me.
Who'd you end up picking? I
I
Garver.
bet you do, man.
You pick Garver too. I went with
Yeah.
Kenta Maeda because he was in the Cy Young conversation for 2020. I'll
There
be
wasn't
honest,
a
I
Cy Young
didn't.
conversation for 2020.
No,
There
okay,
wasn't.
that's fair. But if you had to narrow it down to 3 because you couldn't just hand him the award before the season was over, Kenta Maeda's name was mentioned. But I don't know if it's gonna happen again because he was good for the Dodgers, but he wasn't even really a starter for them. I mean, the Dodgers are the Dodgers, so that's different. But
He was a victim
see
of
it
a good
happen.
rotation over there, I feel like.
Yeah, because
Oh,
he
yeah,
was
the
moved
same
from the rotation to the
yeah.
bullpen. Yeah.
But I do
Yeah.
think he's another guy that's going to come back down to earth after he has to face better lineups. So I have a very dismal outlook on the lineups of the Central Divisions. I did a whole
Yeah.
video on it. But yeah, so I think he'll come back down to earth and not be quite as good as he was.
Makes sense.
Yep, I agree. Yeah. For this next team, it's the Tigers, and it really pains me to say this because this man is a Hall of Famer. Easy. Miguel Cabrera.
won't
I had
do
to
that
pick
to
him.
I won't do
Um,
it to him.
I think it's hard to call a guy
just-
overrated when he's obviously a Hall of Famer. So I don't know if but
Yeah.
he's like 55 at this point, right? So
Yeah, it's like calling Albert
it's
Pujols
hard to-
overrated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like
It's
hard,
hard
call
to
him
justify
overrated.
it.
Or
Yeah.
is he one of the greatest players of all time? Same thing. Same thing. Just change the name.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
Like no one.
Yeah.
Miguel Cabrera is getting paid a shitload of money, but and he's not going to be very good again in 2021. But I don't think anyone's expecting him to be good in 2021.
No.
I was
Well,
expecting him
the
to be
fact that he is getting
serviceable.
older,
And he's definitely a good guy.
you never know.
I
He
don't
could just blossom again.
How old is
Yeah. I'm gonna say 38.
I think he's 36. He's 36.
36.
He came into the league when he was 19, I think.
Oh yeah. Amazing career.
Definitely. It's just the last couple of years he dealt with injuries, and he hasn't been the same Miguel Cabrera that we've seen win the MVP award twice and the Triple Crown. You know what I mean?
Still salty about
It's
that
just
one.
hard. Yeah, it's just hard that. I don't know.
That was Mike Trout's Rookie of the Year MVP award. He should have won, but
He's
Miguel
37.
Cabrera had to go
Yeah.
win the Triple Crown.
Yeah.
37.
Yeah.
Okay,
He's,
right. in the
okay.
middle.
I was.
You can't
Yeah.
you can't complain about how many MVP awards Mike Trout's won or how good Mike Trout is.
Yeah, I can. He hasn't matched Barry Bonds
Yeah, true.
yet,
He's got
bro.
he's got 3,
He hasn't matched Barry Bonds yet.
and
Can't
I
be
think
the
he
GOAT
will
and not win
eventually.
4 MVPs, man. He's already the GOAT. Let's be real. No, I didn't go with Miguel
facts.
Cabrera though. I went with the guy who's a little bit younger, who was kind of like had a great year last year. That's kind of what I'm looking for is people who had like a standout season, but it doesn't seem to be close to their career average. And I went with Heimer Candelario. Because that man looked really good last year. He's 26 years old, so he's not quite in his prime yet. But his career OPS is 93, so below league average. His last 2 seasons, he had this is OPS plus, sorry. Last year, he had a 70 OPS plus in 94 games. The year before that, he had a 91 OPS plus in 144 games. And then this year, he went off and had 135 OPS plus with batting 297, 369 OBP, and then a 503 slugging percentage. So he had a hell of a 2020, but I don't know. He seems to be the kind of guy who benefited off of 2020 being a shorter season because he kind of got hot real quick. So I don't know. What do you think?
When you get hot in a short season.
Swing. Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
He's got my favorite
Beautiful
swing in MLB
switching.
The Show, so I want him to stay as good as he is.
Oh, I
as he
agree.
was.
I love him in MLB The Show. I don't know.
Yeah, me too.
Like the real guy, Eimer Candelario. I don't know. I know he's very active
That's
on
fair.
Twitter,
That's
though,
fair.
so if I post a clip of this and he roasts me, I'm going to be upset. I saw him
hope he
commenting
does.
on all these
I
guys'
hope he-
different Twitter posts, and I'm like, damn.
I hope he does. And I need you to clip this and post it so that he roasts you for this.
Yeah.
I want him to do it.
Yeah, I want to see that.
I
too.
got to
wanna
pick
see it.
somebody on the Tigers. I don't know.
Yeah,
Prove me
I
wrong.
went with a guy. I didn't.
Prove me wrong, Heimer.
I went with Matthew Boyd, another guy who had I think he had a really good 2019. Wasn't good in 2020. So we'll see. I expect him to be 2020 Matthew Boyd and not 2019 Matthew Boyd. I think he's still young. He could bounce back. He could prove me wrong, but he's another guy
he's
that's
going into an
he's
age
extremely
30
similar
season.
to. Oh, okay, so he's not as young as I thought. But he's very similar to John Means in the fact that he's on a bad team. He's the ace, and but I just don't see him being very good.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree
he's
with that
definitely
take.
very
I agree with
overrated
that.
because he hasn't even had a good season, and I still think of him as a good pitcher for some reason. His career ERA is over
Yeah,
5.
Just because he's on the Tigers.
His best year, he had a 4.39 ERA and a 102 ERA plus, so he's not.
Well, then
Yeah,
I just
he's
proved my
just-
point because I said
yeah,
he had a
he's not
good year in
great.
2019, and he didn't. So
Well, when you get a face of the franchise card in MLB The Show, you assume they're at least decent, but you know,
Yeah,
you gotta give it. Hey, you gotta give it to someone.
yeah.
yeah, exactly, man. For the last team in the Central, I went with Moncada on the White Sox.
Damn.
That was just a really tough pick for me because everybody on the White Sox is insane. They're all cracked.
Except for
But
you,
Moncada this year, he hit 6 home runs, drove in 24, had an OPS of 705, and had a batting average of 225, which didn't really match up with all the other numbers and stats with all the other hitters on the White Sox. So I just had to pick him. It was a tough choice.
Well, Yoel Moncada
But
was a top
I think he
prospect,
could blossom.
Yeah, he's still young.
He could come
He's
back
25,
in 2021.
But he
Yeah.
is when I think of Yoel Moncada, I think of a stud prospect, a stud player on a really good team. But when you look at the numbers, he had a great 2019. That's really all you can hang your hat on. 2019, I don't know if it was
exactly.
a fluke or not, but oh man, 25 home runs, batted 315 with a 367 OBP, 548 slugging, 915 OPS, and 140 OPS plus, 40% better than league average. And then every other season he's been exactly league average or just below with basically every statistic he's been decent. So I don't know. I think he's definitely overrated because everyone thinks he's this really big stud player, but I don't even know if he's in the top 5 players on his own team.
No, I don't think he is. No.
The White
I wouldn't be
Sox-
surprised if he wasn't at the end of the day, just because the White Sox are so like up and coming good.
Yeah, the White Sox are probably like my second or third favorite team, like talent wise in the MLB.
To watch, yeah.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, they're just a fun team, man. Just like the Padres.
Exactly. Like I want a White Sox Padres World Series sometime here in the near future.
That would be awesome. That
Yeah,
would be awesome.
I mean, it would be one of the most fun things to watch. I'm gonna give
exactly.
Moncada the benefit of the doubt because I think I don't know. Just because I like him, that's why I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. You
He's
might
young.
be proving it.
He's young.
You might be proving, or I might be proving your point by saying I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt because I like watching him. but I realized that I straight up went with all pitchers in the American League Central, and I didn't mean to, but this is he hasn't pitched for the White Sox yet, but Lance Lynn.
I almost went there.
I'm gonna say he had a good 2020. He was good for the Rangers, but I don't know. If you look at his career, he's kind of an average pitcher. I mean, and he was just really, really good in 2020. So I don't know.
Good 2019.
Yeah, he was good in 2019 and 2020.
But it's so weird because he was so good with the
kinda
Cardinals for like 5 years, and then he sucked.
I mean, you might just say he sucked with the Yankees, but so it could be some of my Yankee bias coming in saying he was overrated. Yeah, so it could be that. It really could, but I don't know. I see him coming back down to earth a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's.
If you're listening to this and you take anything away from this episode, it's just going to be that I have absolutely no faith in any pitcher in this game.
Pitchers are hard, man. I don't feel comfortable
Yeah.
signing Trevor Bauer right now as an Angels fan, and that is pitchers are scary. You never know if Garrett Cole's going to come out one year and just not pitch well, or Luis Severino's going to come back from Tommy John and not pitch well. Shohei Ohtani's going to come
There's
out
always
and
that
pitch
fear.
awful. They're so inconsistent, especially bullpen arms. Like you cannot count on them.
Oh, never.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But here's one good thing about Lance Lynn, though.
Go ahead.
Sorry, there's one good thing about Lance Lynn, though. He does eat up a lot of innings.
Oh yeah.
That's one good thing about him being a starting pitcher for the White Sox. He eats up a ton of innings.
You can count on him. Absolutely.
He's consistent.
He's very durable. You can count on him. Yeah.
He's consistent. He's durable. He's not an ace though. He's a solid like number 2 starter in the MLB.
Yeah, 2 or 3. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's going to pitch behind Lucas Giolito, so yeah,
exactly.
So I think he's going to fit that rotation very well, unless he pitches like he did with the Yankees. Maybe it's just certain ballparks he doesn't like. So
maybe it's pinstripes.
I never know.
Yeah, right.
But so before we hop into the American League West, we're at 51 minutes. So I'm going to suggest that we do this episode with the American League teams being overrated, like their team players being overrated.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And then call this an episode, and then we can still record the National League teams, but we'll just do 2 separate episodes, make it easier on the viewers.
Okay.
So why don't we hop into the West divisions now? So Nolan, take it away.
Yes, sir. I'm wearing his jersey right now. I don't know if you can see it, but anyways, my boy. So when I look at the Angels roster, there's so many players I want to call overrated, and I think people do think are overrated. But I see everyone as pretty properly rated. Obviously, Mike Trout, you can't overrate Mike Trout. There's no overstating how good he is. I wanted to say Rendon was overrated, but then I looked at his numbers. He's not. He's good. He's as good as you think he is. David Fletcher's just as good as you think he is. Obviously, he's a meme, but he's pretty good. He's solid. Same thing with Cy Bundy. I call him Cy Bundy, but nobody thinks he's a top 10 pitcher in baseball, so he's not overrated.
I do.
The guy who
I do for sure.
You think Dylan Bundy's a top 10 pitcher? No. Okay, then maybe
I think top 10, top 15.
He could be if he comes out next year and pitches. Underrated. I'll probably put him on there. But I had to go with Shohei Ohtani just because of how amazing he was in 2018 and how big of a deal it was when the Angels signed him. I know, like I've seen Shohei Ohtani play in Seattle, and Seattle had the most money to offer him when he was getting signed. So it was like a few teams were in on it, like the Dodgers, the Mariners, and the Angels were like the 4th team on that list that could offer him enough money. So I watched him play in Seattle. They absolutely hate him there because of how big of a prospect he was. And then he comes out 2018, ridiculous. He had 20 home runs. His ERA was under 4. What did he do? 63 strikeouts and 51 innings pitched. 3.31 ERA. Only 10 starts, though, because then he had to go down for Tommy John. He still ended up hitting, though. So he had a 285 average in 2018 with a 925 OPS, 22 home runs. That's why he was the Rookie of the Year. Nobody can match that from 2 sides of the ball. 2019, it was a little bit downhill, but still respectable enough to be a starting DH in the American League. 286 average, 848 OPS with 18 home runs. 2020, though, he was awful. Like, there's no sugarcoating it. 154 at-bats, 190 batting average with 7 home runs and a 657 OPS, and he slugged 366. So, just really bad looking in 2020. And he also, what did I have? 2 starts, 37.8 ERA, 3 strikeouts, and 1 2/3 of an inning pitched.
Man,
My man could not get an out. But hey, 3 strikeouts out of 5 outs he got. Just saying.
That's pretty
still
good.
got the stuff. He still got it. But anyways, I really hope he comes out in 2021 and can at least pitch respectably. I've heard rumors we could use him as a closer. I love this guy, my favorite player in baseball, but I think he's easily the most overrated player on the Angels.
I like that idea, actually.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, as a closer. I
Goes
like
in,
that
hits
idea
2
a
home
lot.
runs, then comes out and closes it in the 9th, right? He's got the best, dude. His splitter, I don't know the stats specifically on it, but I'm pretty sure his splitter was like one of the best pitches in the MLB in 2018. Like, it's legitimately unhittable. I don't think anybody hit that pitch.
I'm not surprised. I also picked Ohtani. I don't know about you, Nick.
I did.
He stole the rookie of the year. He stole the rookie of the year. Obviously, his 2018 was fantastic, but I'm still upset because Gleyber Torres and Miguel Andujar didn't get one. Because they both came in second and third.
For sure.
Such a fun player to watch, though. I love him.
I
simp for Shohei Ohtani, bro.
I want him to come out in 2021 and win the Cy Young Award and hit 50 home runs. Obviously, I want him to be that good.
That would be amazing.
If he has a decent season on each side of the ball, he's the MVP. Because I don't care how well you do, Mike Trout. You didn't have you didn't have an ERA. You didn't get any strikeouts. You didn't do any of this. So I think, oh man, so much upside. I'm still so excited about him.
If he could put up
he's only
decent
26.
numbers,
I just looked it up.
Then
yeah, he's young. He's young.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm hoping he's gonna do it, but I'm not. I won't be surprised in the not so distant future they have to say he's either a hitter or he's either a pitcher, and I'm guessing they'll say he's a hitter and not a pitcher. I won't be surprised if that happens.
Well, he's also it's been quoted by multiple Angels, including Mike Trout and Justin Upton, saying that he is the strongest player on the Angels. Like, nobody can hit a ball as far as he can. My man's got insane, and he also looks like he's not even trying. Like, I might do like a Shohei like fan cam on YouTube or something. I've seen, like, I saw a highlight on Twitter earlier this year. He had a terrible 2020, but there's a highlight of him. He's about to get hit by this baseball, and he like check swings it almost and hits a like 420-foot bomb to left center on an inside pitch. That's how much pop this man has in his back. He's ridiculous. He's so.
I think I've seen that too.
Oh my god.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
He's got.
I could talk about him for the rest. I could talk about him for another hour, so y'all got to make me shut up. I'm just gonna mute my mic.
What?
I don't think you understand.
I could talk about it too. So why don't we just talk about the Trastros and we'll get our mind off of it. Another team I could talk about forever.
Yeah, I got a mouthful for this guy. So okay, when I looked at the Houston Astros, emphasis on the ass. I looked at a few guys. I hate a lot of them, so my bias definitely plays a part into this. I looked at Alex Bregman. I think he's overrated. I looked at Yuli Gurriel, a terrible person, piece of trash. Not a great baseball player either. I looked at a few of their pitchers, but when it comes down to it, I had to go with Carlos Correa. My man has so much talk, so much shit to say, and he's just not. He doesn't play it well enough to back it up. Let's see. Career stats, 833 OPS, which is respectable, but he's not like an elite. He's not a top shortstop in the game, in my opinion. 276 batting average, 107 career home runs. Now, this super weird random stat that I have, which was super weird, he had a breakout season in 2017 where he had career highs in batting average, home runs, OPS, RBIs, runs scored, OBP, and more. Dude, what a year for Carlos Correa in 2017, man. Good for him. He really had a breakout season. If he can return to that form, maybe he's underrated. But God, bro, I can't. Yeah, there we go. The absolute worst. But what do you guys think, Carlos Correa? Who do you guys got? I could talk about that. Man.
Nick, I'll let you go first.
I actually picked Gurriel.
Okay.
Because you're right. He's a fucking trash person. He's awful. But his 2020 was pretty bad too. He had a 232 batting average, and had an OPS under 700. It was 650, I think. So like, I don't know if his other years before that were a fluke or not, but he just didn't perform at all. Plus, he's trash. So
I heard he had a pretty good year in 2017.
I
yeah,
heard that too.
I
It's
think.
crazy
I
how
think.
that works.
Yeah.
Oh.
Same year that Correa broke
I
out,
think-
huh?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Is that?
That's all I gotta
correct me
say
if I'm
about
wrong,
Gurriel.
That's the
Trash.
same. That's the same year that Jose Altuve won the MVP too, right?
Oh yeah, he beat out
Oh,
Aaron
yeah.
Judge, who had one of the best seasons a rookie's ever had.
Judge
Insane.
definitely.
I mean, that
definitely got robbed.
2017 team. That 2017 team was just one of the best teams.
Okay,
ever.
but
And
low
there's
key,
not really an
I
explanation for
don't
it.
have much beef with Jose Altuve. I've always liked him as a player, and I
Me
don't
too.
know. 2020, I almost felt bad for him, but I don't know if that's just a big exposure of if he was cheating that much. So if he bounces back, Altuve, but he's been so good his whole career, it's really hard to judge him on last year's stats alone. That's why I didn't put Altuve in
Yeah.
the conversation. But
Yeah, that's
I
my
picked
reasoning for
Jose
Altuve as well.
did you really? Okay.
Well, actually, I picked
Well, as a
Bregman
Yankees
and
fan.
Altuve because I couldn't decide which one that I hated more, and I told Spotify that we would have expletives in our podcast. So fuck all of these guys,
Yeah.
just especially
Facts.
Altuve.
Fuck them all. Yeah.
because of everything that happened. We're gonna be not a single Houston fan is gonna listen to our podcast, and honestly,
never.
I'm fine with it.
Never. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, so I picked Altuve. Well, I picked Bregman and Altuve because they've had good seasons in the past, obviously, but we know they cheated in 2017. And even though it's kind of there's not as much proof that they cheated in 2018 and 2019, but I would not be surprised. So and I'm a Yankee fan, and I'm not gonna deny that that's part of the reason I hate them so much because they stole the World Series from us in 2017.
Nobody talks
and
about
2019.
us. We missed the playoffs by a half a game in 2017. Nobody talks about it. The Angels legitimately one
Because they
win
would have
against
lost in
the
the first
Astros.
round anyway.
But we could have made it. Mike Trout could have more than 3 playoff games. He could have 6.
Yeah, he would have
That's
had. He
true.
would have had
Yeah.
3 more. They would have.
Yeah, he could have
if
6.
they won he would have had one.
He could
more.
have 2
They would have
playoff
lost the
home
wild card
runs.
game.
He could have had 2 playoff hits. Oh my god, the most disrespectful thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Like the Angels, we have it pretty easy. The only thing we get shit about is terrible Astros fans on Twitter who make fun of Tyler Skaggs, which is the worst thing. That's another reason I hate the Astros.
Are
Their
you
fan
kidding
base
me?
is awful.
Yeah.
Swear to God, you say one bad thing about the Astros, they're like, "Oh, what about your pitcher who died?" Literally, yeah, that's
fucked up,
that's
man.
what I've seen from their fan base.
That's
But, you know,
that's crossing an extreme.
there
line
are
right
there
there,
are
man.
good Astros fans out
No.
there, but not on Twitter at least.
Not
Can't-
many.
I don't know.
Not many of them.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I digress. The only thing that we get shit for I've seen is Mike Trout playoff highlights tape. It's awful. It's literally just
Oh.
videos of him striking out, and or it'll just be a video of him hitting his 1 home run, and then it ends. It said, "Thanks for watching." Yeah, it's
I mean,
it's so disrespectful. I hate it. It's the worst.
Disrespectful to the goat, man.
Yeah, you can't have that. All right,
That's awful.
but I think that's
All right.
enough about
really
the
awful.
Astros. We could have a
I'm
whole
sorry.
episode on the Astros. I will head over to the other
We
A
should.
team, the Oakland Athletics.
We should, yeah.
This was kind of a difficult one. It came down to 2 guys named Matt because I feel like they're the only 2 highly rated players on this team. I ended up going with Matt Olson because I feel like people consider him like one of the best first basemen in the league, and I just had to kind of dispel that. Obviously, he's very good at defense. So is Matt Chapman. That's kind of what set Matt Chapman apart because Matt Chapman can't hit. He's not a good hitter. He had a pretty good 2019 season, but he overall is just not a great hitter. It comes down to Matt Chapman being one of the best defenders in all of baseball. Probably the best defensive third baseman. Him and Nolan Arenado are kind of fighting for that platinum glove every year. But Matt Olson, what is he? Fairly small sample size, but in 2018 he had a 788 OPS. 2019 he kind of broke out with an OPS just under 900. But 2020 he was really bad. 734 OPS. Didn't have that great of a slugging percentage. I don't have all the numbers up here. I didn't do enough research on him, but Matt Olson was my pick. Who'd you guys end up going with?
what do you got, Nick?
I actually picked Matt Olson too, just because he's had the power and he has the defense, but I don't know. I feel like sometimes it's just a fluke. That's just my gut feeling. I'm not.
Yeah,
really
he doesn't
sure.
seem
It's just-
consistent.
I don't have a good feeling about him. Yeah, he's not that consistent. Whereas with Matt Chapman, he's an elite defender with Arenado at third.
Yeah.
But like you said, he can't hit. Like he'll hit 20 home runs at least, But like that's pretty much it.
Well, the A's are a weird team because they have a lot of guys who are like that.
Yeah.
Because like Chris Davis is a swinger and
Yeah.
miss. Steven Piscotty's pretty
Yeah,
hit
I was
or
gonna
miss
I was
there.
gonna pick him.
If Marcus Semien was
Yeah.
still on the A's, or if he was currently on the A's, I think they're going
I
to
would've
re-sign him
picked him.
anyway. I would have picked him, but since he's a
I would've
free
picked him
agent, I
too,
ended up
yeah.
going with Matt Olson.
Yep.
Who'd you end
Yep,
up with,
extremely
Michael?
My instant reaction was also Matt Olson, but I'm also a huge Matt Olson fan. Like, if I could, I'd have a Matt Olson jersey right here. I think he's a really good defender. He's one of the best at first base. When most first basemen aren't very good defensively. And his swing is just one of my favorite swings in the game. How he just holds his hands in the right-handed batter's box, basically. And when he hits a home run, it's just majestic. So that's why I didn't pick him. I know he didn't have the best 2020, but I think he's going to bounce back in 2021 in a normal season. As normal as 2021 will be.
Yeah. I do have another really fun stat for me as an Angels fan here that I just have off the top of my head. He was tied for the lead in walk-off grand slams hit off of the Angels bullpen. That means it happened more than once.
I was going to say, didn't he hit 2?
No, he hit one, and Charlie Blackmon also hit one. So that's just a nice little fun stat to throw in there. He was tied for the lead in walk-off grand slams hit off the Angels with more than 0. Awful. Yeah, so I think that was me. That my Angels bias coming in there too.
Yeah, that's fair. I ended up going with Sean Manaea.
Okay.
Only because I didn't want to pick Matt Olson.
Yeah.
Like I said, I would have gone Semien if he was still on the team, or if he might come back, but he's not technically on the team right now. So I ended up going with Manaea. He's another guy that's similar. He's better than Matthew Boyd and John Means, like definitely.
Yeah.
But he's again the ace of that pitching staff. Even though I think Luzardo and I think AJ Puck is their other pitching prospect, they're gonna be good. But I don't think. Again, I just think he gets a little bit too much credit.
Yeah, I agree. Because he seems
I
like
agree with that,
yeah, he's kind of the anchor.
He
of
threw that
rotation,
no-hitter
he's
against the Red
considered to be,
Sox.
at least.
I don't remember what year he threw that no-hitter against the Red Sox, if it was 18 or 19.
That, yeah.
But I loved every second of it. So
yeah, he's a fun guy to watch. I do like Sean Manaea, but I don't know. It's sometimes hard finding an overrated guy is kind of hard, especially because the A's are such a quiet organization. Like, nobody talks about the A's. Nobody is out here like... The Yankees were easy because everyone's hyped about every player on the Yankees when they, like, wipe their ass. But for when it comes to the A's, literally someone could have an MVP. Marcus Semien. Who the fuck talked about Marcus Semien when he was third for MVP voting? No one. Literally no one.
I didn't even know who the guy was.
Exactly. So the A's are kind of a victim of being a small market team, I guess.
I remember the reason I knew who Marcus Semien was because I think he led the league in errors his first year with the Athletics. Yep. He was just atrocious. I swear to God, I think he almost had an error a game, it seemed like, at the beginning of that season. So that's why I remembered him.
Yeah, I remember that too, because I remember he was always pretty good offensively, but the reason he was an MVP, and obviously he was great offensively that year, but he ended up having some pretty good defense too, because that's what always drove down his stock. His defense was atrocious. So Matt Olson, and Sean Manaea for the A's. Two more teams. We'll go with the Mariners, the second worst team in the division. I'd say the most...
two of the worst teams in all of baseball right here.
Yeah, they were... Well, we talked about the Angels already. They're up there. Down there, I should say. Anyway, I ended up going with Kyle Seager just because he's like the biggest name, I feel like, on that team. I think Kyle Lewis will be the biggest name on that team, or Mitch Haniger, I guess, is kind of a big name, but he didn't even play in 2020, so I can't really rate him. Kyle Seager has been kind of a staple for the Mariners for a really long time, and he's just kind of synonymous with their name there. He's basically league average in every single stat career-wise. He's never really had a standout season. Definitely belongs as their starting third baseman for now, but career 256 average. He's hit 200 home runs with them and a career 768 OPS. So nothing to write home about, but like I said, kind of the most highly rated guy on their team, even though he's not an amazing player.
I didn't know he's hit 200 home runs, though. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's been around a while.
I actually looked at that earlier,
Yeah.
He's got 700 plus RBIs, too, I believe.
Yeah.
Wow. Voice crack there. Jesus.
There you go, man. We're hitting puberty.
Exactly. There we go. F1.
There you go, man.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Don't clip this. Do not clip this.
Yeah.
Who'd you go with,
Nick?
Nick?
I actually went with the rookie Evan White, just because
Yeah.
I've heard so much hype around him, and that he has such a power bat, and that he's elite at defense, and he was because he won a Gold Glove this past year, which was awesome. But the power just wasn't there. He only hit 8 home runs and drove in 26, when I thought he was going to hit at least 15 or 20, just because his power is so highly spoken of. But
Did you think he was going to hit 15
I hope he
or
bounces
20
back
in 60 games?
I mean,
And
with how big of a power prospect he was, maybe.
I mean, Luke
Yeah,
Voigt had 22
yeah.
and he led the whole MLB.
Hey, let's not roast him too hard. He had
Yeah.
0.1 WAR last year.
Evan White? That's
He
bad.
has 0.1 WAR more than
Yeah.
I do.
that's bad.
Hey, shit.
Yeah,
That's true.
So
Yeah.
he slugged 346 with a 252 OPA. Oh yeah, a 252 OBP is awful. Yeah.
Mhm.
Did he just not
Yeah, I
walk?
forgot to mention that.
Holy crap.
Let me see. Let me go in depth here. He struck out 84
He's got 18
times
walks.
in 180
Yeah.
202 plate appearances. He struck out 84 times, walked 18 times.
Dude, I
forgot to
on.
mention that. Yeah.
I could get to a batter's box and probably walk more than he did because I
Yeah.
just wouldn't swing the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Evan White, if you're
I
listening,
forgot
to
to
this,
mention those
don't
stats,
swing the
but
bat next season.
Poor Evan White. We're acting like literally the entire MLB is going to be watching our first podcast we ever do.
at the end of this
Maybe,
year
you
they
never know.
will.
What's up, Mike? Anyways, and then who'd you have, Michael?
I ended up going with J.P. Crawford because I thought Evan White was a little too young, although he might be overrated right now. I want the Mariners to trade Kyle Seager so that he can be on a good team.
Yeah.
Because he's never going to see the playoffs if he continues to play with the Mariners.
Those poor Mariners, man.
Because I mean, they might not ever make the playoffs again.
Hey, they said that about the Browns.
That's fair. So it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just need someone to dance Corvette on their stadium.
But I went with J.P. Crawford just because he was such a highly touted prospect, and he hasn't really done much offensively. I don't have all the stats up, but I just think he got a lot of hype. He might not be overrated, but he was overhyped, and because the Mariners are so bad, that's why I went with him.
He came over in a trade, didn't he?
I was trying to remember. Yes, he did. He was a Phillies prospect. I don't remember who got traded over there, though.
Was it Gene? I think it was a Gene Segura trade, wasn't it?
Oh, you're right. It was Gene Segura.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, he's only 25 right now, but yeah, he's awful. He's never had an OPS within 8 of 100, so he's been well below league average.
He won the
every
Gold
year.
Glove at shortstop though, didn't he?
Oh,
He
he's elite
did.
defensively.
He
made
won
some
the
good plays.
Yeah, he won the
Yeah.
Gold Glove last year. But he's
Yeah.
fast and he doesn't really steal that many bases. He stole 5 in 2019 in 93 games, and then he stole 6 last year and got caught 3 times. He's not even that good at base running. Poor guy.
No.
Yeah.
I'm looking up his baseball savant page right now just to see how bad he is compared to other people. But you guys can move on to the Rangers if you want.
All right. So the Rangers are kind of weird. They're kind of like the Mariners. I just had to go with the guy who we think of when we think of the Rangers, who he's a good ball player. I guess he's overrated. Joey Gallo. I think that's the only name you could really put here. Elite defensively. He won a Gold Glove in 2020, his first Gold Glove in 2020. Definitely a guy you want in the outfield, one of the strongest arms in baseball. Really good guy. He came up as a third baseman, I know, but now he's, I think, locking down right field for them. He's only 26 years old, and he's had some really good seasons in the power department, but overall, because of how bad his batting average is, and he hasn't been great with plate discipline either. He's had a pretty low OPP every year. Let me look at his statistics. So, 2017, he walked 75 times, struck out 196 times. 2018, he walked 74 times, struck out 207 times. 200 strikeouts used to be impossible in the major leagues. 2019, 52 walks and 114 strikeouts, but he only played 70 games. So 114 strikeouts in 70 games, not good. In 2020, he
insane.
had a really down year. 57 games. He struck out 79 times in 57 games, so that's more than one strikeout per game. Batted 181, 301 OBP, so he's still over 300. Slugged 378, which for a guy of his power is awful. And 679 OPS, which obviously is really bad. 84 OPS plus as well. So really down year in 2020. I don't think he's really that overrated. I think he's pretty properly rated because nobody expects him to go out and hit 400 and walk 1,000 times. But overall, I think he's the most overrated on the team.
I'm gonna change my pick to Joey Gallo because I didn't pick anyone.
Yeah.
I picked Rougned Odor, but no one expects Rougned Odor to be very good.
Yeah,
So,
me too. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with. I'll change to Joey Gallo.
Yeah. I originally picked Odor as well, but I'm going to change it to Joey Gallo. Just looking at these stats over here, man. That's 200 strikeouts in a single season. That's insane, man.
I mean, I had him as I thought he was better than he was. So
well, in Joey Gallo's defense.
Yeah, me too.
In Joey Gallo's defense,
Like
me pull up a certain Michael Nelson Trout's baseball reference page. Never struck out over 200 times.
The GOAT.
But let's see, Joey Gallo is how old? 26, 27. In Mike Trout's age 26 season, he struck out 122 times. Or no, sorry, 124 times. And in his 22 season, he struck out 184 times. So Mike Trout used to strike out like 140 to 180 times a year. Obviously, in these last few years, it's gone way down, especially in 2017. He only struck out 90 times. I'm not saying Joey Gallo is going to be the next Mike Trout, but as players age, they tend to get a little... Yeah, but as they get older, they tend to get better plate discipline-wise. So he hasn't been in the league as long as Trout has either. Mike Trout debuted in 19, right. So definitely some development to be had there. But 40 home runs a year, you can hang your hat on that, even if you are going to strike out 200 times. Those are Chris Davis numbers when he was actually good. Well, Chris Davis would hit 56 home runs and strike out 200 times.
Yeah, that's true.
And strikeouts are way up in baseball as it is, so we don't even look at strikeouts anymore. We mainly look at OPS.
Real quick, though, I want to go back to J.P. Crawford because I looked up how bad he was.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a 9th percentile in exit velocity. He's 15th percentile in hard hit percentage. And his barrel percentage, he's in the 5th percentile. So he straight up walks up there with a noodle.
Yeah.
He walks up with a wet noodle and tries to get on base.
I think he should just... Oh my god, dude! I don't even know.
Just listen to this real quick. His outs above average is in the 94th percentile, which is real. I mean, that's like one of those defensive stats. It's hard to quantify. But,
Yeah.
I mean, we know how good he is.
Well, defense in general, I feel like is really defense is sort of the eye test in my opinion. Like you see Joey Gallo throw a strike from dead corner of right field all the way to third base, and you're like, okay, he's good. Or you see him make a diving catch, because fielding percentage doesn't work. Percentage doesn't work. Yeah. But J.P. Crawford, good little ball player on defense, not on
defense,
not so much
and that's
on
it.
offense. Maybe if he just bunts more.
Yeah.
What's his speed percentage if you
Just
is
some
that
drag bunting.
quantified in there?
His sprint speed's not up here, so I can't. Oh no, he's not as fast as I thought he was. He's actually below average. He's 45th
Really?
percentile
Okay.
in sprint speed.
Hmm.
So he's slower than Aaron Judge.
And they wanted this guy in a trade?
Wow.
He was that's why. Why do you think I picked J.P. Crawford? He's overrated.
Yeah. I agree.
I'm changing my answer to J.P. Crawford.
Yeah.
Sorry, JP.
Yeah.
So that's gonna wrap it up for our American League overrated players. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Nick, Nolan, do you guys have any last thoughts before we wrap it up?
Shohei Ohtani, you're the love of my life. I appreciate you. I think that's a general statement I'd like to make. What do you
All
think,
right.
Nick? Are you sipping from Mondesi?
I'm sipping for Salvador Perez. He's a top 5 catcher in the league.
Ooh. I feel like we should end each podcast on a hot take like that.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is going to win the MVP in 2021. Thanks for listening, everybody.